Just 4 members of Congress will lead the negotiations of what President Bush and Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid want to be the largest government bailout in history. Democrats, Senator Dodd, chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, Congressman Frank, chairman, House Financial Services Committee. Republicans, Senator Judd Gregg, ranking member of the Senate Banking Committee, Congressman Roy Blunt, House Minority Whip. Well, that's your lineup, folks. And over the past 2 decades, those 4 men have accepted almost $20 million in donations from finance, insurance, and real estate firms. Yes, the very same firms that stand to benefit from that almost $1 trillion federal bailout. We have 2 reports tonight. We begin with Louise Schiavone and the Democrats.
As the financial world awaits a lifeline from Washington, they're looking to friends in Congress whom they've helped over the years, friends who have stood by in key committees as debts ballooned and regulation waned.
They had politicians on both sides of the aisle that they were pushing for easier credit. Chairman Frank and Chairman Dodd have been the facilitators of that on the committees and moving forward legislation that has created a lot of this systematic risk that we are facing.
According to OpenSecrets.org, the website for the Center for Responsive Politics, on the Democratic side from 1989 to present, Senate Banking Committee Chairman Chris Dodd has accepted a total of $13,205,556 in campaign contributions, both in PAC and individual money, from the finance, insurance, and real estate sectors.
The last time that Congress took up the structure of the financial industry, Senator Dodd supported letting banks get even larger and get into new lines of riskier businesses.
House Financial Services Committee Chairman Barney Frank has accepted a total of $2,494,611 in campaign contributions from the same sectors. In Frank's case, top donors include employees from the American Bankers Association, the company that's just bought Washington Mutual, JP Chase, and the National Association of Realtors. In the case of Senator Dodd, top donors include Citigroup, Bear Stearns, and JP Chase. Dodd and Frank now play key roles in bailout talks.
Certainly Congress bears some responsibility for this coming to pass. There are a lot of federal policies that contributed to the current situation.
House Financial Services Committee Chairman Frank told Lou Dobbs tonight, quote, specifically, I've been a consistent supporter of strong consumer protection, support for adequately funded affordable housing, and support for efficient functioning of financial institutions in our economy. And I find no contradiction in working for all 3 objectives.
Lou, Senate Banking Committee Chairman Dodd had no comment for us, but in this instance, the 3 objectives outlined by Frank appear to have been at cross purposes, with homeowners threatened by institutions near collapse, the economy in shambles, and consumers on the hook for a massive bailout. Lou?
Louise, thank you very much. Louise Schiavone. Well, let's turn our attention now to the Republicans, represented by Senator Gregg and Congressman Blunt, the second-ranking Republican in the House. Kenny Pilgrim now with the Republicans.
Congressman Roy Blunt and Senator Judd Gregg are no strangers to the banking industry. According to OpenSecrets.org, the website for the Center for Responsive Politics, Congressman Roy Blunt's top political donors are in securities, investment, real estate, and commercial banks, contributing an estimated $2 million over the course of his career. And this year alone, employees and political action committees from financial and securities firms gave $144,000. Commercial banks contributed $83,000, and real estate contributed $107,000. Blunt, who is up for re-election this year, has a history of supporting business and is given a 93% approval rating by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce for voting in their interests. Bill Allison is with the Sunlight Foundation, a nonpartisan group that advocates greater government transparency.
He's also been somebody who's been very much, again, a creature of K Street, and very much lobbyists have had his ear, and he's been very much kind of an insider in terms of how he's run how he's functioned in Washington.
Blunt also voted back in 1999 to roll back banking regulations and sided with the banking industry on overhauling the bankruptcy code in 2005 to make consumers repay more of their debt during bankruptcy. Senator Judd Gregg's top funding sources this election year are the securities and insurance industries, which provide 21% of his funding.
Since Senator Gregg has been in Congress, he's collected about $1 million from the financial sector and the industries that are most interested in this bailout. The insurance industry is his #1 contributor.
Citigroup is listed as the #4 top contributor in this election year. Senator Judd Gregg has a Chamber of Commerce ranking, voting 88% of the time pro-business. Now, public advocacy and watchdog groups say because of the deep ties to business and banking, members of Congress involved in crafting the bailout should not be allowed to negotiate behind closed doors without the knowledge of the public. Lou?
Well, in point of fact, and Judd Gregg, how much is he taking from these industries? $1 million.
Total, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's sort of shocking. He and Blunt are pikers. I mean, Christopher Dodd and Barney Frank have been making them look silly. I mean, you're talking tremendous sums of money on the Democratic side. I'm a little embarrassed for the Republicans. They're supposed to be the party of business, and they're not getting their fair share of the business. But it looks like they're going to be giving the business to the American taxpayer if these 4 folks go ahead and press through this bailout. And by the way, we're going to be talking about why this bailout is such a ridiculous idea. We're going to be talking with 2 of the country's leading economists here next. Kitty, thank you very much. I mean, this you and Luis Schiavone putting your repertorial skills to work. I hope everyone appreciates that, because that's something that no one else is reporting, and I wonder why. Anyway, you wouldn't think somebody's greasing the skids for this bailout, would you? No. Kitty, thanks. Kitty Pilgrim. Up next here, President